and welcome to our second part of Influence. And I don't know about you, but I love piñatas. Here's one right here. I mean, they're so much fun. They just represent a party, right? I mean, who thought of this? You fill them up with candy, and then you get to hit them with a big stick while you're blindfolded, and then everybody else rushes in to get the candy. I mean, it's brilliant, right? I mean, so much fun. Another thing that I think is fun is my phone and technology. And I don't know about you, but I have a really old phone, but I'm looking forward to the day when I can have a newer one that has all the latest, greatest camera features, and, my battery might last a little longer than a few hours. That's going to be so great because there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with technology. And I even love to glorify God with it when I can by sending an uplifting Bible verse to a friend or prayer request or something like that. And I think our phones and technology have truly revolutionized the world in so many cool ways. But the truth is, if we're honest, I think we can all admit that technology and even piñatas can be used for bad purposes too, right? If we're not careful with technology or phones, they can really almost control us instead of us controlling them, right? And so with piñatas, you might have to be a little more creative to think of a way that a piñata is bad. And this might seem far-fetched, but imagine if we were to worship this piñata. I mean, what if at church, instead of singing songs about Jesus, we began to sing songs about piñatas? Or if we started to tell other people that, the secret to life, it's really all about the piñata. That would be kind of crazy, right? We would be worshiping this piñata. And the reason why that feels so weird, I think, is because the truth is we'd be wasting our life if we worshiped a piñata, because we all know that they're not really the answers to any of the questions that we really have about life, and they're not really going to help us make any important decisions. And the truth is they're going to actually get in the way of a good relationship with God. And so that all sounds kind of silly and crazy, but the truth is God's people did something in the Bible that's not that far off. Here's what they did. Wait for it. They made a golden calf and they began to worship it. And so here's the story. Moses was up there on the mountain getting the 10 commandments from God. And one of those, by the way, literally was about not worshiping idols, which is kind of crazy. But the people got bored. Have you ever gotten impatient with God? They were waiting around and they were getting impatient and bored. And so they asked Aaron to do something about it. And they all gathered up all their gold jewelry. They threw it into a fire and then they crafted this golden calf. Well, not this one, but a golden calf. And the problem wasn't necessarily that they had made it, but that they began to worship it. And it made God very upset and very angry because he tells us repeatedly throughout the Bible not to do this. In fact, in Deuteronomy, it says it this way. It says, "You must not have any other gods except me. You must not make for yourselves any idols or anything to worship that looks like something in the sky above or on the earth below or in the water below the land. You must not worship or serve any idol because I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God." And that's found in Deuteronomy 5, verses 7 through 9, if you want to look it up for yourself. And so maybe you're wondering, well, okay, that's kind of interesting that they did that, but how do I make idols in my own life today? Right here in 2021. Well, here's a few things you can think about to determine whether or not you have any idols in your life, whether it's technology or something else. So here's the first thing that I would encourage you to think about. Have you made someone or something more important than God and his truth? And before you quickly say, "Oh, no, of course not," maybe take a look at your schedule. Do you spend more time with others or other things than with God? Here's another check. Do you have an inability to be away from something or someone for more than a couple of hours while you're awake? Because we all know it's easy to be away from those things while we're asleep. That doesn't count. But while you're awake, do you really struggle to be away from, maybe it's your phone or maybe it's a certain person in your life? That's another good check. The third one I would suggest you to think about is there something or someone in your life that controls you in some way or another, that maybe changes or alters your behaviors or your decisions that you're going to be making? If any of these things are true, you might have an idol either in the making or already existing in your life. And if you do, God just wants you to know that he's better than that idol, that he wants to be number one in your life, and that you can choose to have him be that at any point because he loves you so much. Now, the story of the golden calf is found in Exodus 32, and I totally encourage you to check it out, read it for yourselves. And I love how it ends. It says, "So the Lord caused terrible things to happen to the people because of what they did with the calf Aaron had made." Now, I don't love that terrible things happen to the people. Don't hear that. What I love is that it says so clearly that the reason that God was upset, the reason God was angry, was because of what they did with the calf, not because of the calf itself. I think that's so helpful for us today to consider. So maybe we need to be asking ourselves this question: is technology, or whatever other idol might be trying to creep up in your life, making the Lord angry? The way that you're using it, not it itself, like it says here, but what you're doing with technology, is that making the Lord angry? So that's something to think about today. And if you're here today, and whether you're following Jesus or you're just kind of checking him out, I have a challenge for you, and this is what it is: spend more time this week with God than with technology. Simple, but challenging, right? So here's your challenge. Don't miss it. Spend more time with God, whether that's through listening through worship music, praying, reading his word. Spend more time with God than with technology today. And let me know how that goes. I'll do it all week long so that God can be the biggest influence in your life.